are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty.
What are we doing on this load?
So, you know how it is for my fellow truck drivers. Anytime you want to go home, there's always something. Either it comes to dispatch, or it goes, switching loads, or, even truck goes down, maintenance. But what happened was we had a load going home. Because Hometime's right around the corner for us. We've been out for 2 months. Had a load going home from Des Moines, Iowa, down to Joplin, Missouri. And then we're probably going to deadhead home after that. But, dispatch sent me a message this morning. We had a fellow driver and having issues with this load getting there on time, so I was only driver in the area. You know the story, how that goes, to go pick up this load. And so when I get there, pull up, dispatch is trying to contact this guy, but I don't know if his phone's off or he's sleeping. But you hear the stories. Truckers might pass away when they're sleeping. So I knocked on the door, waited there for like 2 or 3 minutes, and he finally answered. So thank God he's all right, because I don't want to come across a dead body like that. But it was a 5-stop load, and he didn't have enough hours.
Yeah, it's really complicated too. Like, it's 5 stops, but it's not really like back to back. It's spread out, so the hours are all janky. It's probably the most complicated load we've ever gotten from this company since he's been here. And he's been here for two and a half years.
Yeah, the load. So we basically already started our clock this morning, and we're working a split sleeper berth, time clock. So I'm able to pause the clock in the middle. So I already started this morning an hour prior before getting information on this new load. And so this load, we're like 3 hours south, like Indianapolis, and it's a 5-stop load around there. So like the first stop is going to Indianapolis. It's a drop at 1:30 p.m., but my GPS says 2 p.m. So I'm already late off the get-go from that. Then the second stop is going to be at midnight tonight, and then the third stop is going to be at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and then the fourth stop is going to be at noon tomorrow. So I'm trying to tell dispatch, it's kind of complicated. I'm going to see what I can do. There's so many different ways to do this load, but a lot of them aren't really making sense to be there on time.
Yeah, it's like you'll miss like 1 or 2 of the the next to last drop off or the last drop off appointment time. So it's super complicated.
And I get it, because the previous guy that was on it, he's a newer driver and such. I mean, honestly, if I had 6 months experience and I saw a load like that come across my tablet, I'd be questioning reality with it.
Really freaked out. Yeah, like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do it. What do you want me to do with it? I don't know.
No, but my dispatcher told me to contact her when I get there, so I think we'd be doing some kind of game plan how to figure this thing out. I mean, honestly, I was trying to tell him it'd be the best bet if I can, drop this off at 2, and then go to the second stop, maybe like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then shut down, and then tomorrow do that next 2. To me, that makes the most sense, because when you spread out like that, since I'm doing a split sleeper berth, time clock, I can maybe get to the third stop, but no way I can make the 12 o'clock noon appointment tomorrow, because I'll be out of hours.
Yo. But they put the big dog on it. Had to put the big dog on it.
Yeah. I just, I call myself that. They obviously I don't mention that. They know my 1144247. That's how we do. That's my real name. A driver number. But yeah, that's what we're up to. Hopefully, when we get this thing unloaded, whenever it's going to be, we can get a load going home finally. Because we've been out for 2 months, babe?
Yeah, and we also obviously we're young adults. We're in our 20s, so it's a few things we wanted to do for Halloween with our family. But you know how trucking goes for y'all out there that are truck drivers. You know that things change within 5-10 minutes sometimes. Like, I was just texting my mom talking about how we were probably going to be home the night before the day we actually requested home time. So we're going to be home like a few hours earlier than expected. And literally like 5 minutes later, we got the message on the tablet that we had to change our load to something different. So it's very, what is it, babe?
It is unfortunate because
Yeah.
like the load that we had like was perfect. Like we did a dropping hook in the morning, and then on the back end of it, we had another dropping hook. So it was like gravy, and it was like 2 day, like 400-mile load. Which I know it sounds bad because to make money, but when it's time of home time, like you just want to ensure that you get home on time. You know,
Yeah.
like I'll take a load that's like it might take like a day and a half to do, and it's 400 miles. You know, like I'd rather do that than get something like this where it's like a 4 or 5 stop load, and then now you need to get 1,000 miles going back home. You'll be home Thursday. But I mean, we've been doing this for so long. It's like you kind of like just expect to be like a day or two late, or you kind of make plans later on in the week when you actually did schedule home time.
For sure, yeah. That's a word of advice to anybody getting into trucking. It's very, very chaotic. Don't expect to be able to keep your plans when you're on the road, especially if you're OTR. It sounds kind of rough and heartless, but at the end of the day, it's very unexpected and chaotic sometimes. And you kind of have to just go with the flow and be able to switch up, change your plans or change what you're doing uh, at the drop of a dime, which also can be seen as a negative, but is also a positive because it keeps it interesting. Definitely is interesting.
That's why you bring your wife with you, fellas, because you have to worry about the back and forth when you're gonna be home. But if the wife's with you, then you're good.
Yeah. Now you just have to worry about your mama and daddy asking you when you're gonna be home, but most people understand.
Your mom and daddy. These people are like 30, 40 years old. They my mom and daddy. We ain't gonna be home. I mean, when I was a teenager.
Whatever.
You know what she mean, guys.
Yeah.
The
Your
family,
parents,
the friends.
your family, your friends.
You know how it goes. But hey, it's part of trucking, and I will say Decker does try. It's just sometimes it's like stuff happens that's outside both of our control. There's been times where my truck broke down. It's been times where the weather's been too bad. It's been times where the customer you go to, hey, you're gonna be stuck at a Tyson for 33 hours trying to deliver it because the people there have to quit or whatever, or the plant shuts down because of maintenance. Like it's just so many factors. But what we're trying to say is, it's like when you get into trucking or you've been here and you're over the road, you have to be really flexible. Like to structure your life.
For sure. Like, I remember there was one time we were trying to go home, and I believe it was for a holiday too. It was around Thanksgiving last year, and we got literally 2 different blowouts on our way home. Like
within an hour.
Within an hour, we got one fixed on through roadside service, and then on the other side of our trailer, we had another blowout. So it was just like, that's a perfect example. It's just super chaotic. Anything can happen. Doesn't matter what trip it is, why you're going home, does not matter. Things happen.
And even if you're local, I mean, you can be Monday through Friday. That sounds nice. But for some places, a lot of places, from my experience, it's like you might have like a 6-day work week, working 14, 16-hour days, being local, and people will say, well, you only get work, 14 hours on the clock, but yeah, you got to think about the commute, getting there, getting ready for work, and all that kind of stuff, and then you get in there, and then some days are longer than the others. And when I was local, they had like local exemption when I worked at in Detroit, like on the clock where I was doing fuel and stuff. So since the company is in 150-mile radius around the terminal, they didn't have to have like an e-log. You only had, you can use paper logs and stuff. And so a lot of time they took advantage of that. And so I was ended up working 14 to 16-hour days, and an hour commute back to the house, have 12, 13 hours off, and I was right back to it the next day. It's just no matter what kind of like trucking you're doing, it's like there's always cons to it. That's why I like OTR so much, is because like you live at work and you don't have to worry about bills and commute.
Yeah. I don't know. Why don't you tell them what it's like being in the truck OTR, specifically as a couple?
Okay, for a couple, it's amazing, but I can definitely see like the family man like having like kids and stuff. it's definitely rough. I wouldn't do it any other way. If she was back at the house, I wouldn't do it. But if you're in a situation where you might be single, get your girl, bring her on the road with you, and have your life. Or if you already, have your significant other, bring her on the road with you. Like it's honestly the life because there's so much you can do together. I mean, yeah, you strap to a truck, yeah, you strap to doing the loads and stuff, but sometimes you have open windows to go explore the city or go do like a little fun tourist attraction, like going to the zoo, like in Nebraska, or in Vegas together. You can go do a few rides. Decrease your lifestyle back at the house because if y'all two live in a truck and let's say you guys don't have kids, you can get rid of your car, get rid of your house. I mean, not really a house, but get the house, but you're renting out, make some money on it. You get what I'm saying. But like, downsize your living.
No rent.
Yeah.
Don't have a car. Try to downsize your monthly payments as much as you can. Like right now, our only monthly payment really is towards our credit card and phone bill. So we have no car note, we have no rent, we have no house note, and we live full time in the truck. When we do go home, we stay with friends, we stay with family, but we're only home for a week at most every month or two. So there's no reason to pay rent. There's no reason to have a car because you're really just paying for an apartment every month to just sit there empty for the majority of the month. You're really just paying a car note for your car to stay in the driveway majority of the month. So there's really no point. It's just a waste of money.
Yeah, for sure. And really, if you really are a car guy, I mean, you always hop on Toro and get yourself something really cool for a few days, like a Corvette, or
Hell yeah.
You can do what you want.
You can literally rent like a Rolls Royce in Las Vegas and drive down the Las Vegas Strip at night with the Rolls Royce and the stars things on the ceiling. I don't even know what they're called, but
yeah, then you can pull up to like a McDonald's and stuff, looking like a fool,
But no, I mean, I like the variability there is in OTR life. It's always something different. Every day that you wake up, it's something different. And it's even more fun when you do it with your best friend, when you do it with someone that you're really close with. I will say, this lifestyle is not for everybody. You learn a lot about a person when you live in a box with them 24/7. But if you genuinely like each other, it should work out. I mean, we might bicker and have small disagreements, but we never really fight. We're around each other 24/7 and we
all day, every day,
and we both love it.
2 months on end in a box, with your partner. I mean, there's a lot of couples that can't do it, and that's respectful because, I mean, there's a lot of people that can't be around someone for that long, But, I mean, if you generally do love being in each other's presence, it's not all couples, but if you do, I mean, like, it's like the perfect job, to do
For
that.
sure.
I mean,
For
it's not really a job to me. It's kind of like I sit on the couch and I look outside my window and everything's just, changing. It's like, and it's soothing. It's like therapy. And then you listen to music, podcasts, while also, delivering loads, all that.
Yeah. It's also really interesting because something I didn't know before I was in the truck and when I was just a regular old, civilian out in the world.
Old civilian.
Yeah. I didn't know much about trucking or truckers, and I didn't realize how much truckers drive during the day. Like, we can drive, what's the most we've driven? Like 650 miles in a day, and that's just here at Decker.
1,650?
No, I said 650.
Oh, I thought you said 1,650. I'm like, man, we got
No.
rocket engines on this thing.
No, 650 miles in one day, and that's just on 11 hours to drive?
Yeah, 11 hours to drive.
11 hours to drive, and we're governed at 68 miles per hour. So, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot more than most people would be willing to drive in, 10, 11 hours.
It depends where you're at, though. I mean, you can't do 650 out in some parts of the Midwest and some parts, well, mostly all the Northeast. Like, that 650 is when you're out in, like, Nebraska, Kansas, Texas.
Oh, of course. That's just the most that we've ever driven in a day. What would you say our average is that we drive every day?
So on a daily basis, it really depends. Like, if I know I'm gonna have a really busy week, I'm gonna try and look at the hours of like what I have on my 70. You don't want to deplete your 70 because you also got to think about next week's pay period. So you really have to like just look at everything in the grand scheme and think about how much am I going to drive this day? When's this load going to be there? So on and so forth. What's my next pickup? And so you want to calculate, your hours of service to make sure that you get the most money, on your paycheck, because you don't want to go out here and drive 10 hours every single day, because now you're going to be out of hours, and your next pay period might not look pretty. But thank goodness for minimum pay. But sorry, I was doing a breakdown answer, but
No, it's okay.
the average daily, what I usually do is probably like 500 to 550, and then drop and pick up days, it's like 350 to 450. It really just varies. But by the weekly average for miles, I would say around 2,000 to 2,500. Good weeks, 3,500.
And see, for my people who don't drive trucks that are watching, you will understand what I mean when I say that that's a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot for someone who does drive trucks and also, does this as a career. But for someone who doesn't drive trucks or works like a normal 9 to 5 kind of job, like it is a lot. And I didn't expect that. And I think it's really cool because, if you have a load from like, let's say Kansas to Denver, Colorado, like it's really cool going to sleep in the plains and then waking up and your drive the next day is like through mountain passes. That's what I mean when I say like your surroundings are constantly changing, and it's very cool. It's a very cool experience.
Unless you're in Kansas.
Well, yeah, if you're in the Midwest, no. But
Yeah, like I like my drivers out there, like Nebraska, Kansas, like it's pain.
it's mind numbing.
Very mind numbing, and then even been driving for so long, even the music starts getting boring, and it's a certain podcast, you listen to it for 2 or 3 hours, and you just sit there like, yeah.
Yep. That's also where it's nice to have a passenger in the truck with you, because we talk for hours and hours on end about the stupidest things, like if aliens exist or religion or
they do exist.
like we just talk about random things all the time in the truck when we're aboard, and it's a great time. I mean, we can have a conversation for like 4 or 5 hours straight.
Yeah, and then also like comfortable silence is nice too. Sometimes it's nice to be lost in your thoughts, because that's what I love about this job is meditating, and it's therapeutic because you sit there and you just reflect, look back at things, and then think about the future. I mean, there's so many things you can think about. You guys what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to relax.
Yeah, I feel like if you are a truck driver, you really have to love the job, because if you're here for just the money, you're going to go insane in this truck. Let's
Yeah,
be
you're
real
not-
here.
you're not
You're
gonna
going to go
last.
absolutely insane,
Especially over the road.
especially OTR. But if you like your solitude, you like sitting with your thoughts, if you like even being alone, let's say you don't have a passenger, if you like being alone, this is the perfect job for you. I think that if you like road trips, if you like traveling, like OTR is probably perfect for you.
You bring your animal with you.
Yeah, that's you. How long would you recommend someone who's a new driver get experience before they, like, how much experience do you think a new driver should have before they try to bring a passenger on?
I think it depends on the person, honestly. Like, there's some quick learners out there, and there's some people that need time.
Mhm.
But I feel like once they realize that they can go in any big city and be just comfortable, have no anxiety and no fear, and they know what they're doing in their craft, and I think it's a good time to bring their passenger with them, because you don't want them to be new and then be distracted, and some things might happen because they're not paying attention. Same thing with using like a headset to talk on the phone.
Yeah,
But I mean, it really depends on the person, honestly.
I agree. I would say it's important to master your trip planning, specifically when you have a passenger, because your passenger is going to have unexpected stops. They're going to need things, they're going to get hungry. So it's important to be able to trip plan loads that aren't extremely tight correctly, so that you're not showing up late because your passenger had to use the restroom, or showing up late because your passenger I don't know, went inside to get some fast food for you, and it took longer than 10 minutes that you planned on taking there. You know, there's having another person in the truck brings a little bit of more of that unpredictability, and you know, you have to be really good at planning to be able to accommodate another person in your schedule and what you do in the truck.
Yeah, like it'd be so funny because like we'd be out like east, east somewhere in the mountains, like Appalachia, and then I work so hard to pass all these trucks, and then she's like, "Oh, I have to go use the restroom, honey," and then we go pull over at the rest area, and I'm just looking out the window, I'm like, "Man, we got to pass all these people all over again."
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like, you know, there obviously it's not like road tripping in a car where you can just pull over at any gas station. You know, there's only specific places that you can stop as a truck driver. So that's another important thing, maybe to communicate with your passenger or to plan for with your passenger is, you know, if you have to go to the bathroom, you need to go to the bathroom when you have the opportunity to. Because I know, like, at least out west, there's like 100-mile stretches where there's no bathroom, there's no rest areas, there's no porta potties.
Even if there is a rest area, it's like a picnic area with no bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there might be a parking area, but there's still no bathroom there. And, you know, especially us ladies, you know, we can't just go anywhere. So it's really important to know your planning.
Depends on the lady.
And the the planning, you know, the scheduling. It's just really important to at least have that down pat before you bring on a passenger.
Yeah, and that's a piggyback of what she's saying. It's just like when you knowing your partner and stuff, even as a driver, like there is more complexity when you do have somebody on the road because like now you're dealing with two people with two different times they use the restroom, and so you want to be able to be really flexible in your trip planning and what to do. Now, I will say like if there is really tight loads, like hey, look, this is where we're gonna stop. You got this X amount of time, then we gotta go, and then if that's why you always got the infamous pee bottle,
Yes.
off camera.
Yes. And for my lady truck drivers or lady passengers who are watching, girl, get you I think it's called a sheepy or a go potty, something similar, but it's like a silicone or rubber like funnel that allows you to pee while you're standing up as a woman. It's very, very helpful in tight situations. Might be kind of gross, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes in trucking. That's the biggest thing I would say as someone who came from a normal life to a truck life and living on the truck full time. Sometimes there is no bathroom, sometimes there is no shower, sometimes you get in situations where you have to do gross things, where you have to shower with a water bottle or whatever, or you have to pee in a water bottle. Like, things happen. It's very, like I said, it's very unpredictable, and you have to be able to adapt to that unpredictability.
Even with number two, like some places you go to, there's no bathroom, and then you're in a big city, and there's no restroom at all, and you have to use go number two. I mean, like that's why truckers call this thing called the bucket. You get this thing that's a bucket, you put a little toilet seat on there. You ask your passenger to leave the truck. Hey, I'm about to blow it up. You put your kitty litter in there, a bag, all that stuff that for the smell and all that, and then you use it because it's better than doing that than doing it on yourself or in the truck and making the mess. I mean, for normal people, I know it sounds like really like third world, like country kind of like stuff.
Yeah, it sounds really gross.
But you have to do what you gotta do sometimes. Just feel like new truckers, make yourself a bucket from Lowe's, put a little toilet seat on there and everything. Get yourself an extra like gallons of water so you clean it, and then or get to a truck stop that night, clean everything. But you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I've heard, we don't use this, but I've heard a lot of people say kitty litter is really good. Because it works just like a litter box for cats, So when you're in a pinch, just whip out the bag of kitty litter that you got for emergency use and use it.
It's for emergencies, by the way.
Yeah, it's not like we do this every day in the truck when we have to use the bathroom. It's like emergency situation.
Although like the 6-7 years I've been driving, it's like I only did this part like a handful of times. Because there is times you eat that roller grill from the Loves or the Flying J, and an hour later you gotta go, but look, man, GPS says ain't nothing for miles. Like,
Yeah. It
and you
just
gotta
hits
pull
you.
over.
You're like cold sweating. I feel like every experienced driver has been there once or twice at least. Like they know what we're talking about.
Like you feel powerless. Your stomach starts going like brrr. It starts talking to you like a different language.
Yeah.
And when you do eventually go into yourself, you start questioning reality and like what's going on.
Yeah.
But nah, I mean I mean not a lot of people talk about it on YouTube, but I mean you gotta have like certain things, like certain tools for certain situations.
Yeah, we're trying to be realistic with you guys. If we have any new drivers listening, like we're trying to be realistic with you because this is what the lifestyle is. Like at the end of the day, this is not a job. This is not a get money quick scheme. This is something that
For the long haul.
it's genuinely for the long haul. I mean, I know some people do get in, get their money, and get out, but for the most part, it's not really like that anymore. The industry isn't really suited for that.
Overtime is great, but
Yeah.
the way the industry is right now with the tariffs and all these new drivers come in, not like drivers from America, like foreign drivers, like there's a lot of like aspects, like with the brokers getting into like our pay and taking a lot of percentage of loadout and stuff. It's like there's a lot of factors where it's making trucking like really hard to like get in, make a bunch of money, and then leave. Like you really have to generally love this job to be in it, for a long time. Because the turnover rate's like over 90%, for like people under a year.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people like get in, they take all this money, and then it's like, oh, it's like, dang, like it's not what a lot of these people are saying is. Now there is money, but you have to be in a certain niche of trucking. And OTR, I mean, I love OTR. Like, I love it. I'm not really in it for the money for OTR. I'm in it for the lifestyle because it's what it is, lifestyle. But if you go get your endorsements, get on a good like union company doing LTL fuel, just like heavy duty towing, like there's money like in that. But you can't expect to go haul a box and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make $2,000 a week unless you're in lease, but then you pay for the fuel, the taxes, so on and so forth.
And unless you know people and you have the connections to do those kinds of things, realistically, the only niche where you're going to be seeing six figures or more, assuming you live in a good area for it, at least, is food service, and it's touch freight, and it's very, very difficult, very, very physically involved. So a lot of people might get into it and then leave like 6 months later, or they don't want to do it at all. So yeah.
You also got your private fleets, like your Sherwin-Williams, your Walmart.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like when you first get out of trucking school. The only way that you're going to be seeing six figures in your first year is if you go work at like Cisco.
Yeah, Cisco for sure, or like Estes.
Yeah.
Like doubles and triples.
I don't even think Old Dominion hires like straight out of school.
I think they do.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I think they do.
I thought you had to have experience.
No, like you would think that, but like I know like Estes, like Old Dominion, like I know like they hire within sometimes like train the forklift drivers. From a forklift driver to go be a what you call it, truck driver and all that.
Yeah, I got you.
But no, I mean, just don't expect to like make buku money from the get go. Is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the most I ever made was like 120, 140, like between that range. But that was when I was hauling fuel in Detroit, and I was working 6 days a week for a year. And yeah, like when I first got into trucking, I mean, I was a dishwasher, and then went from a dishwasher to making $800, $1,100 a week. Like I was blessed,
right?
Like and it changed my life. And then I was still on like this, I need more. And so I got my endorsements. I moved away from my home state, and then I was chasing money. I was making 2 to 3K a week as a fuel hauler, doing that. But then, I started reflecting and looking back, and I was like, man, I'm not really happy, like working all these hours. I mean, yeah, the bills are paid, and at like, a peace of mind and stuff would come to my bills. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy. And so end up leaving that job and going back to what I truly love doing, and this is being like a nomadic lifestyle. Yeah, I'm not making nowhere clear like close to that money, but it's good enough to save and pay my bills, and also like do fun things every now and then in the month, and bring your girl with you.
not everything is about money. At the end of the day, like not everything is. Sometimes there's bigger and more important things than just going out and making money. And yeah, I definitely say like at the end of the day, when you die, you aren't going to be taking your hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have in the bank with you to the grave, but you do take your memories with you. You do take your experiences with you. And to me, those are more important than making a check.
Now, we're not saying be irresponsible, go buy a bunch of Gucci clothes, and you.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'm saying don't be materialistic.
Yeah, don't be
save for the
materialistic.
future. Make sure that, your expenses are paid for in the future. Make sure your health is good. Take care of yourself in the truck. But what I'm saying is, don't up your lifestyle when you get into trucking. Don't, get into trucking just for the materialistic side of it of like, I can make a lot of money and go buy all these things and like, all of that. Because at the end of the day, like for us, OTR is a lifestyle. It's an experience. And, yeah, it's not all about the money. Like he could go make six figures right now and I could be a stay-at-home wife in an apartment. But what's the point of that if I only see him 2 days out of the week, if that, and he's, you know, tired as crap, and we don't even do anything when we get home.
I experience local. Like I know what that life's like. I'm gonna come home and not be full of energy. I gotta be up like in 10, 11 hours. I go right back to sleep. Wake up and go, and she'll be gone.
Yeah,
Like this job's perfect for a couple where one's working and one's cooking, or if the other driver wants to. My bad. If the other partner wants to get her CDL, then we can both drive.
right.
But then that's team driving. That's another topic.
That's a whole nother video. We could go for hours on that video.
Sleep's the biggest one. I will say that.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why we won't do team driving. But we can talk about that in a different video.
Right.
But yeah, all I was trying to say is, it might be kind of gross, some of the topics that we're talking about, but we're trying to be realistic about how we live our life in the truck, realistic about the expectations when you get into trucking, because a lot of people on YouTube make it sound so glamorous and so nice, and it's like this amazing new career, but in reality, there are cons to it, and I'm a big believer that you should be realistic and honest with people about the pros and cons of anything that you talk about.
Because like this job is like, yeah, we are talking about like taking care of yourself and all that, but also on the same hand, to be devil's advocate, what she's saying is like this job takes a lot from you. Like it takes your time, it takes your health, because you sit here all day. I mean, yeah, there are people out here like in flatbed and all that kind of stuff that do work out and all that stuff, but like if you just been doing it for so long, like this job will kind of like drain you, where like you just don't want to like properly exercise every single day, because like, and also eat properly every single day, because like it gets hard, constantly trying to find a Walmart to get the proper groceries, and finding a good time out of your day to like exercise properly, because you think about, oh man, now I'm all sweaty and nasty and I'm dirty and we just washed our sheets, and then now there's no shower. Like there's so many like factors.
Yeah, we gotta wrap things up, but all in all, trucking is a great career. We love it. This is some small details about our lifestyle, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.